Ladies and gentlemen, this is Alistair Cook and a very special omnibus. Today, we have only one item, but it is the noblest item in English dramatic literature, Shakespeare's King Lear. We brought Peter Brook over from London to direct it. Virgil Thompson has written and will conduct a special musical score. And for his first appearance, his first television appearance in this country, you will see Orson Welles as King Lear. Now, the play will run without any division of acts or any interruptions of any kind. And we're very grateful to our sponsors for their generosity in making this possible. When you've heard from the first of them, I'll be back to tell you something about the history of the play and its reputation. Our version of King Lear runs about 73 minutes. And Peter Brook said that if he'd had 3 hours, it would still run 73 minutes. This was made possible by taking advantage of the very tough requirements of the Elizabethan stage. You know, they had only a platform stage and no curtain. And when people came in, they expected a play to run for 4 hours. So in order to rest the chief actors, they invented the subplot, the bane of all schoolboys. This brought on the second shift of actors. Well, Peter Brook has simply taken the subplot and thrown it out the window. But everything that bears on the tragedy of Lear is in this version. Now about the play. It was written by Shakespeare in his 41st or 42nd year, at the beginning of the last decade of his life. We don't know much about what happened to him in the 6 years since he wrote the gay comedy Twelfth Night. He would never again write anything like that. We do know that he lost an 11-year-old son, and that in the preceding years, when he was writing Julius Caesar, Hamlet, Othello, he seems to have been obsessed with public vices like ambition and treason, and private agonies like jealousy and lust. And now here he came to take an old Celtic myth about an aging king who divided his kingdom between 3 daughters in the hope of ensuring their devotion to him, a hope that you'll see was doomed to defeat. Now, for 2 centuries, this play was baffling and it was unpopular. The 18th century didn't like it because they wanted to believe, that Providence was a very reasonable being who ran the universe in a very orderly fashion according to the new rules laid down by Sir Isaac Newton. So they called it disorderly, barbaric. The 19th century, an optimistic age, felt that its pessimism ran counter to the prosperity of the British Empire and the blessings of the steam engine and the export trade. So they said it was very morbid. And now we, at least those of us who've been lucky to survive the violence and the barbarities of the 20th century, maybe we are a little better qualified to look at this work with a little more humility. It is the play of an author who, in the prime of life, despaired not only of men and women, but of the God who made them. But this is not the petulance of a small-town atheist. It is the despair of one of the most intuitive human beings who've ever lived, and of the most greatly gifted of our poets. So, we give you King Lear in the hope that you may learn more from Shakespeare's pessimism than from the optimism of lesser men.
Give me the map there. Now, we have divided in 3 our kingdom. It is our fast intent to shake all cares and business from our age, conferring them on younger strength. Cornwall, and you are no less loving son of Albany, we have this hour a present will to publish our daughters' several dowers, that future strife may be prevented now. Tell me, my daughters, which of you shall we say doth love us most, that we our largest bounty may extend where nature doth with merit challenge? Goneril, our eldest born, speak first.
Sir, I love you more than word can wield the matter. As much as child e'er loved or found, a love that makes breath poor and speech unable, beyond all manner of so much. I love you.
What shall Cordelia speak? Love and be silent.
To thine and Albany's issue be this perpetual. Now, what says our second, our dearest Regan, wife to Cornwall?
I am made of that self-same metal as my sister. I find she names my very deed of love, only she comes too short. That I profess myself an enemy to all other joys, and find I am alone felicited in your dear highness' love.
And yet not so, since I am sure my love's more ponderous than my tongue.
To thee and thine, hereditary to me ever, remain this ample third of our fair kingdom, no less in space, validity, and treasure than that conferred on Goneril. And now, our joy, all of our last and least, what can you say to win a third more opulent than your sisters? Speak.
Nothing, my lord.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing will come of nothing. Speak again.
Unhappy that I am, I cannot heave my heart into my mouth. I love your majesty according to my bond, no more, nor less.
Cordelia, man's your speech a little, lest it may mar your fortunes.
Good my lord, you have begot me, bred me, loved me. I return those duties back as are right fit. Obey you, love you, and most honor you. Why have my sisters husbands if they say they love you all? Happily, when I shall wed, that lord whose hand must take my plight shall carry half my love with him, half my care and duty. Sure, I shall never marry like my sisters to love my father all.
But whose that heart's with thee?
Aye, my good lord.
So young, so untender.
So young, my lord, and true.
Let it be so. Thy truth then be thy dower. Here I disclaim all my paternal care, propinquity and property of blood. And as a stranger to my heart and thee, hold thee from this forever.
Good my liege.
Peace can't come up between the dragon and his wrath.
Thy youngest daughter does not love thee, liege.
I loved her most, and thought to set my rest on her kind nursery. Hence, and avoid my sight. Cornwall and Albany, with my two daughters' dowers, digest this third. I do invest you jointly with my power. Ourself by monthly course, with reservation of 100 knights by you to be sustained, shall our abode make with you by due turns.
Royal Lear, whom I have ever
These
honored as
cants.
my king, revoke thy gift.
On thy life no more!
Man, my life I never held but as a pawn to wage against thine enemies, nor fear to lose it, thy safety being the motive.
Out of my
Be
sight!
better, Lear.
5 days we do allot thee for provision. On the 6th, to turn thy hated back upon our kingdom. If on the 10th day following thy banished trunk be found in our dominions, the moment is thy death. Away. By Jupiter, this shall not be revoked. Call forth the princes, France and Burgundy.
The gods to their dear shelter take thee, maid. But justly thinks, and hast most rightly said. Fare thee well, king, since thus thou wilt appear. Freedom lives hence, and banishment is here.
The princes France and Burgundy, great rivals for our youngest daughter's love, long in our court have made their amorous sojourn. And here are to be answered. My Lord of Burgundy, what in the least will you require in present hour with her?
Most royal majesty, I crave no more than hath your highness offered.
Right noble Burgundy, her price is fallen. She's there. She is yours.
I know no answer.
This is most strange that she who even but now was your best object, the argument of your praise, balm of your age, the best, the dearest, should in this trice of time commit a thing so monstrous to dismantle so many folds of faith.
Royal king, give but that portion which yourself proposed.
Nothing.
And here I take Cordelia by the hand, Duchess of Burgundy.
I have sworn triumph.
I am sorry then you have so lost a father, that you must lose a husband.
Fairest Cordelia, that art most rich, being poor, most choice, forsaken, and most loved, despised. Thee and thy virtues here I seize upon. Not all the dukes of waterish Burgundy can buy this unprized, precious maid of me. Bid them farewell, Cordelia. Though yet unkind, thou losest here a better where to find.
Thou hast her, France. Let her be thine. For we have no such daughter. Nor shall ever look upon that face of hers again. Ever be gone without our grace, our love, our benison.
Sister, it is not a little I have to say of what most nearly appertains to us both. I think our father will hence tonight.
That's certain. And with you. Next month, with us.
Oswald, did my father strike my gentleman for chiding of his fool?
Aye, madam.
I'll not endure it. His knights grow riotous, and himself upbraids us on every trifle. When he returns from his hunting, I will not speak with him. Say I am sick.
He's coming, madam. I hear him.
Put on what weary negligence you please, you and your fellows. I'd have it come to question. If he distaste it, let him to my sister.
Now, banished Kent, thy master whom thou lovest shall find thee full of labors.
Now, what art thou?
Man's own. Very honest-hearted fellow, and as poor as the king.
If thou beest as poor for a subject as he's for a king, thou art poor enough. What would thou?
Service.
Who wouldst thou serve?
You?
Dost thou know me, fellow?
No, sir, but you have that in your countenance which I would fain call master.
What's that?
Authority.
Follow me, thou shalt serve me. I like thee no worse after dinner. Dinner! Ho! Dinner! Where's my knave? My fool. Go you and call my fool hither. You, sir. Go you and tell my daughter I would speak with her.
So please you.
What's in the fellow there? Go, call the crossbow back. Dinner! I think the world's asleep.
He says, my lord, your daughter is not well.
Why came not to say back to me when I called him?
Sir, he answered me in the roundest manner. He would not.
He would not.
My lord, I know not what the matter is, but to my judgment, your highness is not entertained with that ceremonious affection as you are wont.
Ah, sayest thou so?
There's a great abatement of kindness appears in the general dependence, as in your daughter.
I have perceived a most faint neglect too late. I will look further into it. But where's my fool? I've not seen my fool this last 2 days.
Since my young lady is going into France, sir, the fool hath much pined away.
No more of that. I've noted it well. Go you and tell my daughter I would speak with her. You get my fool hither. You, sir! You! Come you hither. Who am I, sir?
My lady's father.
For Lord's name, your horse and car.
I'll not be strucken, my lord.
No trip neither, you base foot.
Away! You have wisdom.
Here's earnest of thy service.
Let me hire him too. Here's my coxcomb.
Oh, now, my pretty Dave.
Sir, you had best take my coxcomb.
Why, my boy?
Why? For taking one's part that's out of favour. Nay, and thou canst not smile as the wind sets. Thou catch cold shortly. Here, take my coxcomb. Why, this fellow hath banished 2 one's daughters. And done the third a blessing against his will.
And now, boy.
And now, young cock. Would I had 2 coxcombs and 2 daughters?
Why, my boy?
I gave them all my living. I keep my coxcombs myself. There's mine.
What?
Suits a dog must do. Kennel. He must be whipped out. Sit up. I teach thee a speech.
You, boy.
Oh, mark it, Nuncle. Have more than thou showest. Speak less than thou knowest. Lend less than thou owest. No more than thou trowest. Leave thy drink and thy whore, and keep in a door, and thou shalt have more than 2 tens to a score.
This is nothing, fool.
Thou gavest me nothing for it. Canst thou make no use of nothing, Uncle?
I know, boy, nothing can be made out of nothing.
Prithee tell him, so much the rent of his land comes to. He'll not believe a fool. Give me an egg! And I'll give thee 2 crowns.
What 2 crowns will they be?
Why, after I broke the egg in the middle, the 2 crowns of the egg. And thou clovest thy crown in the middle, and gavest away both parts. Thou borest thine ass on thy back o'er the dirt. Thou hadst little enough wit in thy bald crown when thou gavest thy golden one away. And if I speak like myself in this, let him be whipped. But first finds it so. Fools had ne'er less grace in a year, for wise men are grown foppish. They know not how their wits do wear, their manners are so impish.
When were you wont to be so full of songs, sirrah?
Oh, I've used it, Nuncle, ever since thou madest thy daughters thy mothers. For when thou gavest them the rod and putst down thine own breeches.
Take heed, sirrah.
And they for sudden joy did weep, and I for sorrow sang.
That such a king should play Bo Peep and go the fools among.
And they for sudden joy did weep, and I for sorrow
How now, daughter? What makes that front on? You were too much of late in the frown.
Thou's the pretty fellow when there has no need to care for her frowning. Now thou art an old without a figure. I'm better than thou art now. I'm a fool. Thou'rt nothing. Yes, forsooth, I will hold my tongue, so your face bids me, though you say nothing. Mum. He that keeps nor crust nor crumb, weary of all, shall want some. That's a shout, please, Cod.
Not only, sir, this your all licensed fool, but others of your insolent retinue do hourly carp and quarrel. I'd thought by making this well known unto you to have found a safe redress, but now grow fearful that you protect this course, which if you should, the fault would not scape censure.
Censure? Are you our daughter?
You've known, Uncle, the head sparrow fed the cuckoo so long, it had its head bitten off by its young. So out went the candle, and we were left darkly.
Would you would make use of your good wisdom and set aside these dispositions?
Oh, may not an ass know when the cart draws the horse? What Chagarati?
Does any here know me? This is not Lear. Who is it that can tell me who I am?
Their shadow.
Your name, fair gentlewoman?
Admiration, sir, is much of the savor of other of your new pranks. As you are old and reverend, should be wise. Here do you keep 100 knights and squires, men so disordered, so debauched and bold, that this our court, infected by their manners, shows like a riotous inn. Epicurism and lust make it more like a tavern or a brothel. The shame itself to speak for instant remedy. Be then desired by her, who else will take the thing she begs, a little to disquantity your train.
Saddle my horses. I'll not trouble thee. Yet have I left a daughter. Is it your will? Speak, sir. Prepare my horses!
My lord, I am guiltless as I am ignorant of what hath moved you.
My trainer men of choice and rarest parts, that all particulars of duty know, and in the most exact regard support the worship of their names. O most small fault, how ugly didst thou in Cordelia show, which like an engine wrenched my frame of nature, drew from my heart all love, and added to the gall. Oh, Lear! 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 Beat at the gates and let thy folly in, and thy dear judgment out. Go, go, my people! Here, nature! Here, dear goddess, here. Suspend thy purpose. If thou didst intend to make this creature fruitful, into her womb convey sterility. Fry up in her the organs of increase, that from her loins no hopeful branch may spring. If she must teem, create a child of spleen, that it may live athwart this nature, torment to her. That its stamp wrinkles in the brow of youth with cadent tears, fret channels in her cheeks, turn all her mother's pains and benefits to laughter and contempt, that she may feel how sharper than a serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child. Away!
Do you mark that?
I cannot be so partial, Goneril, to the great love I bear you.
Pray you content. You, sir, more knave than fool, after your master.
Lear! Hurry and take the fool with thee! The fox, when one has caught her, and such a daughter, would shorter the slaughter! It might have to thy halter! So the fool follows after.
And now, Oswald, what have you writ that letter to my sister?
Aye, madam.
Take you some company and await a horse. Inform her full of my particular fear, and thereto add such reasons of your own that may compact it more. Ere long, you are like to hear, if you dare venture on your own behalf, a mistress's command. This kiss, if it dare speak, would stretch thy spirits up into the air. Conceive, and fare thee well.
Thou wouldst make a good fool.
What a boy.
Long to live thou art my fool, and have thee beaten for being old before thy time.
Aye.
Thou shouldst not have been old before thou hadst been wise.
Oh, let me not be mad. Sweet heaven, keep me in temper. I would not be mad.
Returning to thee, friend, art of the house of Regan?
Nay,
Where may we set our horses?
in the mire.
Prithee, if lovest me, tell me.
I love thee not.
Why dost thou use me thus? I know thee not.
Fellow, I know thee.
What dost thou know me for?
A knave, a rascal, an eater of broken meats, a base, proud, shallow, beggarly, lily-livered, glass-gazing, super-serviceable, finical rogue. A beggar, a coward, a pander, and the son and heir of a mongrel bitch.
Away. I have nothing to do with thee.
You come with letters against the king, and take vanity, the puppet part, against the royalty of our father. Draw, you rascal, or I'll carve one out of your shank. Stand, you rogue! Stand, you neat slave! What's the matter here?
Keep peace upon your life.
He dies and strikes again! Will you, Goodman boy? Come on! I'll flesh you!
What is the matter here?
A messenger from our sister.
Fetch forth the stocks. We'll teach you.
Sir, I serve the king, on whose employment I was sent to you. You shall do small service against the grace and person of my master, stalking his messenger.
As I have life and honor, there shall he sit till noon.
Till noon? Till night, my lord. And all night, too.
Why, madam, if I were your father's dog, you should not treat me so.
Being his knave, I will.
The king.
Let me beseech your grace not to do so. The king must take it ill that he so lightly valued in his messenger should have him thus restrained.
I'll answer that.
My sister may receive it much more worse to have her gentleman abused, assaulted for following her affairs.
Hail, dear Grace.
I'm glad to see your highness.
Regan, I think you are. I know what reason I have to think so. Oh, Regan, if thou shouldst not be glad, I would divorce thee from my mother's tomb, sepulchring and adulteress. Oh, beloved Regan, thy sisters, not. I could scarce speak to thee, nor not believe. Thou depraved a quality. Oh, Regan.
I pray you, sir, take patience. I have hoped you less know how to value her desert than she to scant her duty.
See you?
I cannot think
My curse is on her.
Oh, sir, you are old. Nature in you stands on the very verge of her confinement. You should be ruled and led by some discretion that discerns your state better than you yourself. Therefore, I pray you that to our sister you do make return,
Say you have wronged her.
Ask her forgiveness. Dear daughter, on my knees I beg that you vouchsafe me raiment, bed, and food. Dear daughter, I confess that I am old. Age is unnecessary. Who is it? Just so much thy place mistook to set thee here.
He wears cruel garters, horses are tied by the head, dogs and mares by the necks, monkeys by the loins, and men by the legs.
It is both he and she.
No.
Thy son and daughter.
No.
Yes.
No, I say.
I say I.
You swear no.
Swear I.
This mother swells up toward my heart. Hysterica passio. Down thou climbing sorrow. Thy eminence below. Who put my man in the stocks? Who put him there?
What trumpet's that?
I know it's my sister's.
Who stopped
Bruce
my...
her letter, the chief, would be here soon.
Regan! I have good hope thou didst not know of. Oh, Regan. You take her by the hand.
Why not by the hand, sir? How have I offended? All's not offense that indiscretion finds, and dotage terms so.
Besides, you are too tough. Will you told? Who struck my servant?
I sent him there, sir. But his own disorders deserve far less. Sir, I beg you. Be still, sir.
I pray you, Father, being weak, being so, if till the expiration of your month you will return and sojourn with my sister, dismissing half your train, come then to me.
Return with her and 50 of my men dismissed. No. Rather, I abjure all roofs and choose to wage against the enmity of the air, to be a comrade with the wolf and owl. Necessity, sharp pinch, return with her. Why, the hot-blooded France, that dowerless our youngest daughter took, I could easily be brought to knee his throne, and squire like pension beg to keep base life afoot. Return with her. Persuade me rather to be slave and sumpter to this detested throne.
That's your choice, sir.
I prithee, daughter, do not make me mad. I'll not trouble thee. We'll no more meet. But yet, thou art my flesh, my blood, my daughter. Or rather, a disease that's in my flesh, which I must needs call mine. Thou art a boil, a plague sore, an embossed carbuncle in my corrupted blood. I'll not chide thee. Let shame come when it will. I do not call it. I do not bid the thunder-bearer shoot, nor tell tales of thee to high judging Jove. Mend when thou canst, be better at thy leisure. I can be patient. I can go with Regan. I, my 100 knights.
Not altogether, sir. I look not for you yet, nor am provided for your fit welcome. Give ear, sir, to my sister. What 50 followers, is it not well? What should you need of more? Yea, or so many. How in one house should many people under 2 commands hold embassy? 'Tis hard, almost impossible.
Why might not you, my lord, receive attendance from those that she calls servants, or from mine?
Why not, my lord? If then they chance to slack ye, we could control them. If you will, come to me, for now I spy a danger. I entreat you to bring but 5 and 20. To no more will I give place or notice.
I gave you all.
And in good time you gave.
What must I come to thee with 5 and 20? Regan said you so.
And speak again, my lord.
I'll go
No
with
more with me.
And I 50, yet it's double 5 and 20. Or twice her love.
Hear me, my lord. What need you 5 and 20? 10 or 5? To follow in a house where twice as many have a command to tend you? What need 1?
No reason not to need. Our basest beggars are in the poorest thing superfluous. Allow not nature more than nature needs. Man's life is cheap as beasts. Thou art a lady. If only to go warm were gorgeous, why nature needs not what thou, gorgeous, wearest, which scarcely keeps thee warm. But for true need, you haven't given up patience. Patience I need. You see me here, you gods, a weak old man, as full of grief as age, wretched in both. If it be you that stirs these daughters' hearts against their father, fool me not so much to bear it tamely. Touch me with noble anger, and let not women's weapons, water drops, stain my man's cheeks. No, you unnatural hags! I will have such revenges on you both that all the world shall... I will do such things. What they are yet I know not, but they shall be the terrors of the earth. You think I'll weep? No, I'll not weep. I have full cause of weeping. But this heart shall break into 100,000 flaws. Forever I will weep.
Let us withdraw. It will be a storm.
This house is little. The old man and his people cannot be well bestowed.
'Tis his own blame, hath put himself from rest, and needs must taste his folly.
For his particular I'll receive him gladly, but not 1 follower.
So am I purposed.
'Tis best to give him way. He leads himself.
Alas, the night comes on, and the high winds do sorely ruffle for many miles about this scarce a bush.
Shut up our doors. Shut up your doors, my lord. 'Tis a wild night.
My Regan counsels well. Come out of this storm.
Over there, beside foul weather, the flame is like the weather. Look down quietly. Sir, I do know. There comes a power into this scattered kingdom who have secret fleet in some of our best ports and are at point to show their open banner. Now, make your speed to Dover. When you do see Cordelia, show her that way. Fire me storm, I'll go seek the king. He that first lights at him, follow the other. All Germans, kill at once, that make it grateful burn!
Penny, the head and teeth, the louse, Sir Baker's Mary Penny, the man that makes his curl, what is his heart, Sir Maid, shall overcome cry woe, and time his feet to wait, for the levy it was a fair woman, but she made mouths in a glass.
Rumble thy belly full. Spit fire, spout rain. Rain, wind, thunder, fire are my daughters. I tax not you, you elements, not I never gave you kingdom, called you children. You owe me no subscription. Then let fall your horrible pleasure. Here I stand, your slave, a poor, infirm, weak, and despised old man. Yet I call you servile ministers, and will with two pernicious daughters join your high-engendered battles against a head so old and white as this. Oh, despise!
Not such nights as these, the wrathful skies narrow the very wanderers of the dark and make them keep their caves.
Let the great gods that keep this dreadful pother o'er our heads find out their enemies now. Tremble, thou wretch that hast within the undivulged crimes unwhipped of justice. Hide thee, thou bloody hand. Thou perjured and thou simular of virtue, that art incestuous, close pent-up guilt, rive your concealing countenance, and cry, these dreadful summoners, grace! I am a man who has sinned against. Sinners.
Hard by here is a hovel. Some friendship will it lend you there against the tempest. Repose you there.
Oh, thou boy art cool, poor knave and fool, and one part in my heart, but solid.
He that has, and the little tiny wit, with hey-ho, the wind and the rain, was made of...
All on, I will endure.
The tyranny of the open night, too rough for nature to
This
endure.
tempest will not give me leave to ponder on things that would hurt me more. Go in, boy, first. My wits.
Away, the foul fiend follows me. Through the sharp hawthorn blow the winds. Zoom. Run to thy bed and warm thee. Who gives anything to poor Tom, whom the foul fiend has led through fire and through flame, through sword and whirlpool, over bog and quagmire, that has laid knives under his pillow and halters in his pew, has set ratsbane by his porridge, made him proud of heart to ride on a bay-plucking horse, over 4-inch bridges, to course his own shadow for a traitor.
Didst thou give all to thy daughters? Doth thou come to this?
Bless thy 5 weeks. Comes a cold. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh.
Bless thee from whirlwind, star blasting and taking. Do poor Tom some charity, whom the foul fiend vexes. There might I take him now, and there again, and there.
As his daughters brought him to this pass, couldst thou save nothing? Wouldst they take all? Nothing could have subdued nature to such a lowness but his unkind daughters. Is it the fashion that discarded nature should have so little mercy on their flesh? Judicious punishment. 'Twas this flesh begot those pelican daughters.
Pillicock sat on Pillicock Hill.
That is all the fool of the madman.
Nay, take heed of the foul fiend. Obey thy parents. Keep thy words, justice. Swear not. Keep not thy sweetheart. On proud array. Tom McCall. I have been a serving man, proud of heart and of mind, that combed my hair, curled my hair too, wore gloves and my cap, served the lust of my mistress's heart, and did the act of darkness with her, swore as many oaths as I spake words, and broke them all in the sweet face of heaven. One that slept in the contriving of lust and waked to do it. Oh, wine loved I dearly, dice dearly, and in woman out paramored the Turk. Pulse of heart, light of ear, bloody of hand, hog in slow, fox in stealth, a dog in matter, in not the creaking of shoes, nor the rustling of silks betray thy poor heart to woman. Keep thy foot out of ruffles, thy hand out of plackets, and obey the foul fiend. Still through the hawthorn blows the cold wine.
Pretty uncle, tell me whether a madman be a yeoman or a gentleman.
Why, Cecil?
A king. A king.
Let him pass by.
He's mad.
I'll see their trial first, those pelican daughters. Now, you she-foxes!
Look where he stands and glares. Come o'er the bourne, Bessie to me.
She not speak why she dares not come over to me.
The cat is grey.
I will arraign them first. There's Goneril!
Come hither, mistress. Is thy name Goneril?
She cannot deny it.
Try thee mercy, I took thee for a joint stool.
There's another! Sworn looks proclaim what so hard is made on. Stop her there! Sword, fire! Corruption in the flame! The little dogs and all.
See, they bark.
Child Roland to the dark tower came. His word was still by foe and foul. I smell the blood of a British man.
My lord and master, where is the king? Where is the king, my master? In here. But trouble him not. His wits are gone. I have overheard a plot of death upon him. Take up thy master. If thou shouldst dally half an hour, his life stands in assured loss. Take up. This way, my lord.
I will keep still with my philosopher.
Make for Dover, friend, where thou shalt meet both welcome and protection.
Gregorio calls me and tells me Nero is an angler in the lake of darkness. Pray, innocent, beware the foul fiend.
No noise, no noise. I'll to supper in the morning.
I'll go to bed at noon.
Traitor.
Ingrateful fox.
What means your graces? Good my friends, consider. Do me no foul play, friends.
Seize him!
Where hast thou sent the king?
To Dover.
Wherefore to Dover? Wast thou not charged in peril?
Wherefore to Dover? Let him answer that.
I am tied to stake and I must stand a cross.
Wherefore to Dover?
Because I would not see thy cruel nails pluck out his poor old eyes.
Bind fast his cocky arm.
Hard, hard!
I will see the winged vengeance overtake such children.
See it, shalt thou never.
Lift me off. Give me some strength.
One side will mock another. The other too.
If you see vengeance, hold your hand, my lord. I have served you ever since I was a child. What better service have I never done? And now to bid you hold.
Now you dump.
Nay, then, come on, and see the sense of anger.
Stand up.
Slain. Now you have one eye left, my lord, to see some mischief on him.
See it, shalt thou never. Out, vile jelly. Where is thy luster now?
Shut him out at gate. How is my lord her looking?
I've received a hurt. Turn out that eyeless villain. Throw that slave on the dunghill. Regan, I have bleed apace. Untimely comes this wound. Give me your arm.
Let him smell his way to Dover.
Cotterill, you are not worth the dust which the rude wind blows in your face.
Milk-livered man.
See thyself, devil. Proper deformity seems not in a fiend so horrid as in wolf.
Vain fool. Marry your manhood. You.
Now, sweet lord, you know the goodness I intend upon you. Tell me but truly, but then speak the truth. Do you not love my sister?
An honored love.
But have you never found the forfended way, my brother's place?
That thought abuses you?
I never shall endure her. Dear my lord, be not familiar with her.
Fear not.
Alack, 'tis he. Why, he was seen even now, mad as the vexed sea, singing aloud, crowned with rank fumiter and furrowed weeds. Send forth an officer, search every acre in the high-grown fields, and bring him to our eye. Seek for him.
News, madam. The British powers are marching hitherward.
'Tis known before. Our preparation stands in expectation of them. Oh, my dear father, it is thy business that I go about. Therefore, great France, my mourning and sad tears hath pitied. No blown ambition doth our arms incite, but love, dear love, and our aged father's right. Soon may I hear and see him.
They cannot touch me for coining. I am the king himself. There's your press money. They told me I was everything. It is a lie. When the wind came to make me chatter, and the thunder would not peace at my bidding, there I found him. There I smelt him out. They told me I was everything. It is a lie. I am not ague-proof. Give me the map there.
He's not the king.
Aye. Every inch a king. When I do stare, see how the subject quakes, I pardon that man's life. What was thy cause? Thou shalt not die for adultery. The wren goes to it, and the small gilded fly does lecher in my sight. To luxury, pell-mell, let copulation thrive. Behold yon simpering dame, that minces virtue, and does shake the head to hear of pleasure's name. The fitune of the soiled horse goes to it with a more riotous appetite. Down to the waist their centaurs, the women all above. But to the girdle do the gods inherit. Beneath is all the fiends. There's hell. There's darkness. There's the fiery pit. Burning, scalding, stench, consumption. Fie. Give me an ounce of civet, good apothecary, to sweeten my imagination. There's money for thee.
Oh, let me kiss that hand.
Let me wipe it first. It smells of mortality.
Oh, this ruined piece of nature, this great world should so wear out. Lord, dost thou know me?
I remember thine eyes well enough. Dost thou squint at me? See how this world goes.
I see it feelingly.
What, art mad? A man may see how this world goes with no eyes. Look with thine ears. See how yon justice rails upon yon simple thief. Hark in thine ear. Change places and handy-dandy, which is the justice, which the thief. I've seen a farmer's dog bark at a beggar.
Aye,
and the creature run from the cur. There thou mightst behold the great image of authority. The dogs obeyed in office.
Oh, sir, sir.
If thou wilt weep my fortune, take mine eyes. I know thee well enough. Thy name is Gloucester. Thou must be patient. We came crying hither. Thou knowst when we first smell the earth, we wail and cry. I will preach to thee. Mark,
the day
when we are born, we cry that we are come to this great stage of fools. This were a delicate stratagem. To shoe a troop of horse with felt. I'll put it in practice. When I've done it, I'll steal upon these sons-in-laws and kill. Come, I'm a king. My master's a king. Know you that?
Not a royal one. We obey.
Get me a surgeon.
Sire, your most dear daughter.
I am cut to the brains.
the king is mad. How stiff is my vile sense that I stand up and have ingenious feeling of my huge sorrow. Better I were distract, so should my thoughts be severed from my griefs, and woes by wrong imagination lose the knowledge of themselves. Far off, methinks I hear the beaten drum.
How does the king?
Madam sleeps still.
Oh, kind gods, cure this great breach in his abused nature. Untuned and jarring senses, oh, wind up this child-changed father.
So please your majesty, that we may wake the king. He hath slept long.
Be governed by your knowledge. Had you not been their father, these white flakes did challenge pity of them. Was this a face to be opposed against the warring winds? Mine enemy's dog, though he had bit me, should have stood that night against my fire. And wast thou fain, poor father, to hovel thee with swine and rogues forlorn in short and musty straw? Alack, alack! 'Tis wonder that thy life and wits at once had not concluded all. He wakes. Speak to him.
Madam, do you, 'tis fittest.
How does my royal lord? How fares your majesty?
You do me wrong to take me out of the grave. You are a soul in bliss, but I am bound upon a wheel of fire, that mine own tears do scald like molten lead.
Sir, do you know me?
He's scarce awake. Let him alone a while.
I am mightily abused. I should even die with pity to see another thus. I know not what to say. I cannot swear. These are my hands.
Oh, hold your hand in benediction on me.
Pray, do not mock at me. I am a very foolish, fond old man. 80 and upwards. Not an hour more nor less.
And to deal plainly, I fear I'm not in my perfect mind. Methinks I should know you and know this man, but I'm doubtful. Mainly doubtful what place this is. Nor all the skill I have remembers not these garments. Nor know I where I did lodge last night. Do not laugh at me, for as I'm a man, I think this to be my child, Cordelia.
So I am, I guess.
Be your tears wet? If you have poison for me, I will drink it. I know you do not love me, for your sisters have, as I do remember, done me wrong. They have some cause. You have not.
No cause.
No.
No cause.
Am I in France?
In your own kingdom, sir.
Do not abuse me.
Some officers, take them away. Guard them till their greater pleasures first be known that are to censure them.
We are not the first, who with best meaning have incurred the worst. For thee, oppressed king, I am cast down. Myself could else outfront false fortune's frown. Shall we not see these daughters and these sisters?
No, no. Oh, no. Come. Let's away to prison. We two, alone, will sing like birds in the cage. When thou dost ask me blessing, I'll kneel down and ask of thee forgiveness. And so we'll live and pray and sing and tell old tales and laugh at gilded butterflies and hear poor rogues talk of court news, and we'll talk with them too. Who loses and who wins, who's in, who's out, and take upon us the mystery of things as if we were God's spies. And we'll wear out in a walled prison pacts and sects of great ones that ebb and flow by the moon.
Take them away!
Upon such sacrifices, my Cordelia, the gods themselves throw incense. Have I caught thee? Wipe thine eyes. The good years shall devour 'em flesh and fell. There they shall make us weep. We'll see 'em starve first.
Come hither, Captain. Hark. Take thou this note. Follow them. One step I have advanced thee. If thou dost as this instructs thee, thou dost make thy way to noble fortunes. Sir, I thought it fit to send the old and miserable king to some retention. With him I sent the queen, my reason all the same. And they are ready tomorrow, or at further space, to appear where we shall hold our session.
You have the captives. I do require of you so to use them, as we shall find their merits and our safety may equally determine.
The question of Cordelia and
Pray, sir, by your patience. I hold you but a subject of this war, not as a brother.
That's as we list to grace him. In his own grace he doth exalt himself? In my rights, by me invested, he compares the best.
That were the most if he should husband you.
Lady, I am not well, else I should answer from a full flowing stomach. General, take thou my soldiers, prisoners, patrimony. Witness the word that I create thee here my lord and master.
Mean you to enjoy him?
The let alone lies not in your goodwill.
Nor in thine, Lord.
Half-blooded fellow, yes.
Let the drums strike and prove my title thine.
Stay it! Hear reason. Oswald, I arrest thee on capital treason. And in thy arrest, this gilded serpent. For your claim, fair sister, I bar it in the interest of my wife. With this ungracious paper strike the sight. Here in the sands thee I'll rake a post unsanctified of murderous leches. Beloved Oswald, let our reciprocal vows be remembered. You have many opportunities to cut him off. If he return the conqueror, then am I his prisoner, and his bed my jail. From the loathed warmth whereof deliver me, and supply the place for your labor, your wife, so I would say, affectionate servant. Conqueror!
I pant for life. Some good I mean to do despite of mine own nature. My writ is on the life of Lear and on Cordelia. Quickly, send and be brave in it. Nay, send in time.
Haste for thy life.
He hath commission from my wife and me to hang Cordelia. Then to lay the blame upon her own despair that she foredid herself.
Oh! And I your tongues and eyes. I'll use them so that heaven's vault should crack. She's dead. She's dead. I know when one is dead and when one lives. She's dead as earth. Cordelia. Cordelia, stay a little. What dost thou say? Huh? Her voice was ever soft, gentle, and low. An excellent thing in woman. I killed the slave that was hanging thee.
It's true, my lord. He did.
Did I not, Phil? I have seen the day with my blood-biting force when I would have made them skip. I am old now. And these same crosses spoil me.
He knows not what he says. And vain is it that we present us to him.
And my poor fool is hanged. No. No. No life. Why should a dog, a horse, a rat have life? And thou, No breath at all. Thou come again. Never. Never! Never! Never.
Thanks. My lord! My lord!
Break, heart, I prithee break. Vex not his ghost. Oh, let him pass. He hates him that would upon the rack of this tough world stretch him out longer.
Bear them from hence. Our present business is general woe. Friend of my soul, rule in this realm, and the gourd state sustain.
I have a journey, sir, shortly to go. My master calls me. I must not say no.
The weight of this sad time we must obey. Speak what we feel, not what we ought to say. The oldest have borne most. We that are young shall never see so much, nor live so long.
Peter, we'd like to thank you for your enormous labors of the last 3 weeks. And when I say we, I mean not only the crew of Omnibus, the sweating cameramen, the broken-down stage managers, the script editors, but I think several of those 13 million people out there.
Well,
wonderful.
Thank you, Alistair. I only say what I've learnt with this is what a team business television is, and if I had more than 30 seconds, I could say something. I can only thank your director here, Andy McCulloch, and all the others who've helped so much with kept this show on the air. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you, Peter. Next week we shall have for you a new film of Suxdorf called Symphony of a City. The city is Stockholm. We shall show you some of the recording tricks of Les Paul and his charming wife. We shall have to try and find out about organic architecture, and we shall ask its parent, Mr. Frank Lloyd Wright. And finally, we shall present to you a dramatization of Stephen Vincent Benet's The Gold Dress. So, next Sunday and every Sunday, Omnibus.